What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of More to Marriage. It's your boy Marquise.
And your girl Crystal.
Now listen, we wanted to talk to y'all just briefly about what we feel like are one of the biggest enemies to every marriage.
Yes.
We were sitting down talking about this idea, and we came to the conclusion that there's one enemy out there that has the power to ruin every single relationship, whether that's friendships, but especially in marriage. It has the power to break up families, has the power to upend and ruin lives that lead to divorce.
Yes,
children. It can affect children. It's really that powerful if we let it creep in and upend relationships. That one enemy is
comparison.
We know about it.
We hear about it. We talk about it. We even experience it. Listen, when we allow comparison to affect our marriage, it leads to two things. The first thing is this: comparison steals our joy. Can we just talk about it for a second?
It's a thief, okay? We see this with our boys all the time.
Yes.
We give Denver and Dallas each a toy. They love their toy for about 15 minutes.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. And then they notice that their brother has something that they don't.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, their toy that they just were in love with is not enough. But how many people do we know who have been blessed with a wife, a husband, and they love their husband and wife early on? They cupcaking on the phone when they're away from each other, all of that. But then they compare their spouse with someone else. And then all of a sudden, what they've been blessed with isn't enough.
And here's the deal. When you said I do and you became, and it became a covenant, God graced us.
Yeah.
God graced us in that very moment to be able to handle the spouse that we said yes to.
That's
so
exactly
the
right.
good, the bad, and the hard, we have to remember we are graced for our person.
Yeah.
But I won't stay preaching. The second thing is this: comparison gives us false hope.
Yes.
It makes us believe that, man, if I just had with that husband, or if I just had that wife, or if they look like this and they talk like this, then everything will be better. But can we let y'all in on a little secret? Everybody comes with something, okay?
That's exactly right.
There's not one person out in this world that's going to check every single box, okay?
Yes, and I'm going to annoy Crystal. That's number one.
Okay, and listen, let's talk about it. Okay, because if you got a spouse that don't annoy you, do you even have a good marriage? Okay? Do you have a good one?
Man.
I mean, we annoy each other, but we love each other. So we don't want comparison to give us that false hope, because that just leads to disaster.
Yeah, and here's a hard truth, man. And you know this, if you've been compared to someone else, it leaves you feeling less than.
Yes.
I'm not good enough. It leaves your spouse feeling like I'm not good enough. They're always fighting from the deficit. Even if you don't verbalize that you're comparing them to someone else, they feel that. And no one, that's unfair. No one should have to live a life where they're compared to someone else. So, two things we're going to do to get rid of that comparison.
Yes, the first thing is we're going to acknowledge that comparison.
Acknowledge it.
I think so many times we live in hiding that we don't even acknowledge what is going on the inside of us. But if we can just acknowledge, man, I was comparing my life to my friend's life. Not that, it's a bad thing, like a super terrible thing if you like your friend's marriage or you admire it. But it's one thing to admire someone's marriage, and it's another to just wish you had that. And want to do whatever you can to get that instead of just enjoying what you have. So we're going to acknowledge that comparison. The second thing is we're going to nourish our relationship. We're going to admire other people's relationship. We're going to put wind in their sails, but we're also going to do that for ourselves. We're going to put wind in our marriage. We're going to communicate effectively in our marriage. We're going to love our spouse within our marriage, just like we did in the beginning. It might not be the same, and it shouldn't be the same, because we're ever evolving people, but we should figure out, what is it? How can I love my spouse deeper and better in this season? And if we have that type of posture, we won't even deal with comparison.
Exactly.
Okay?
So don't let comparison cause you to overlook what God has caused you to look over. Man, you've been given a spouse to look over, especially husbands. You've been called to look over, shepherd your wife.
That's right.
Don't allow comparison to cause you to overlook what you've been called to look over. All right, so as always, remember this: getting more out of your marriage starts
with giving more in your marriage.
Love y'all. Until next time.
See ya.
Peace.